If this is your first time in my channel, we do lives every Tuesday and every Friday. We on Tuesdays we read the Bible about the New Testament, and on Fridays we read the Bible in the Old Testament. So today's Friday. So we're gonna be reading about Abraham and the call of Abraham. God's call to Abraham. So we're reading the Bible in consecutive order. So from Genesis all the way to Revelation. So I really recommend you guys, whenever you're going to read the Bible, reading it all the way from the beginning to the end. Don't just open it like in a random spot, because you're not gonna be familiarized. I think that's how you say it, with the Bible. After you read it all the way through, then you can like start opening it wherever you want. But if you're a beginner, I really recommend you reading it from the beginning to the end, just like a regular book, because in that way you're gonna understand what the Bible is about, because it has an order basically. So yeah, if you're interested in watching the other lives, we're gonna be reading chapter 12 of Genesis, which Genesis is the first book of the Bible, but we already did lives about all the other chapters. So I recommend you guys go watching, if you want to go watch those lives, because in that way you're going to be understanding who Abraham is, if you are not, like if you don't know who he is basically. So yeah, we're going to start reading chapter 12 in this live and part of chapter 11. So yeah, we're gonna read about Abraham's family line, and the call, basically the call of Abraham, how God called Abraham, because Abraham is gonna be the father of Isaac, and well, basically the father of the whole people of God, you know. So let's start. We're gonna be reading chapter 11, verse 27, and it says Abraham's family. This is the account of Terah's family line. So Terah was Abraham's father. And it says, Terah became the father of Abraham, Nahor, and Haran. Well, right now Abraham's name is Abram. I think Abram, not with an H. God is going to change his name after. But right now I'm just going to be referring to him as Abram, right? So it says, Terah was the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran became the father of Lot. So if you guys are familiarized with the story of Abraham, you know that Lot is the nephew of Abraham, right? And he is a very important character throughout the Bible history, basically. He is going to be the father of, a village I don't want to say a village, like a group of people in Israel, near Israel. So yeah, so it says, Haran became the father of Lot, which we know that Lot was the nephew of Abraham because he was the son of his brother, right? It says, while his father Terah was still alive, Haran died. So basically, Lot's father died. That's why he was always with Abraham, right? Because he didn't have a father, basically. His father died. So he was very close to his uncle Abraham. And it says, while his father Terah was still alive, Haran died in Ur of the Chaldeans, in the land of his birth. Abram and Nahor both married. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah. She was the daughter of Haran, the father of both Milcah and Iscah. Now Sarai was childless because she was not able to conceive. So oh my gosh, I'm forgetting this. Abram's wife, Sarai, she couldn't have any kids. She wasn't able to conceive. She was childless. That's why Abram was very close to Lot, his nephew, because that was the closest son that he had, right? So it says, Terah took his son Abram, his grandson Lot, son of Haran, and his daughter-in-law Sarai, the wife of his son Abram, and together they set out from Ur of the Chaldeans to go to Canaan. But when they came to Haran, they settled there. So Canaan was the land, the promised land. That's where Abraham's family moved to. And it says Terah lived 205 years and then he died in Haran. The call of Abraham. So basically, this is when Abraham is gonna speak to God, and God is gonna tell him that he's gonna give him a great nation, basically, right? And Abraham, he's known as the father of faith because he had a lot of faith. Why is this? Well, because as you guys already know, his wife was childless. She couldn't conceive. So how was Abraham gonna be able to have a great nation and a lot of kids, a lot of children, if his wife wasn't able to conceive, right? But even though like logically thinking this was impossible, Abraham never lost faith. He was always trusting God, and he knew that God was gonna fulfill his promise, basically. So yeah, that's why Abraham is the father of faith. He's very famous for this. And yeah, and God, that's why God blesses the Israelites a lot, the Jewish people, because they are descendants from Abraham. They're the children of Abraham. So because of Abraham being so him trusting God a lot, that's what God liked. You know, because whenever you're with someone, you like that a person trusts you, right? Whatever you say, you like that a person trusts what you're saying, right? You don't like when a person is like, oh no, yeah, I don't believe you, or they never trust you, right? So it's very important when someone trusts you. So that's why God liked Abraham a lot. So it says, the Lord, this is chapter 12, it says, the Lord had said to Abram, go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse them. And all people, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little bit sick. And it says, and all peoples on earth will be blessed through you. It says, so Abraham went as the Lord had told him, and Lot went with him. So basically, God told Abraham, I want you to go from your country, from your land, and go to the place I'm telling you to go, right? Because I have a promise that I want to fulfill in you, right? And it says that Abraham went, he took his wife Sarai, and he took his nephew Lot, right? Because it was he loved his nephew Lot because it was the closest person that he had, the closest son that he had. And also Lot didn't have a father, so Abraham was the closest father figure that Lot had, right? And it says, Abraham went as the Lord had told him, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he set out from Haran. So this is very important because Abraham thought, when God told him that he was going to bless him with a great nation, Abraham thought that this blessing was going to come from his nephew Lot, right? Because he believed what God had told him, but he like logically think, and he was like, well, my wife Sarai, she can't conceive, so she's not going to be able to give me children, so probably the promises of God is gonna it's gonna be through my nephew Lot because he has my blood, right? He's my nephew, he doesn't have a father, his children are gonna be considered mine. So that's why he was taking Lot with him everywhere, right? And this is very important because it says that when God called Abraham, and when Abraham left his country with Lot and with his wife, Abraham was 75 years old. And if we keep reading, we're gonna stop at a certain point in this life, but we're gonna probably do like 3 lives about Abraham's story, 3 or 4 lives. And in the other lives, we're gonna be learning that God is gonna make us Sarai pregnant, so Abraham's wife. And it's gonna be a miracle, right? Because she couldn't conceive, and she's gonna be able to conceive a son named Isaac. And after this, when Abraham is gonna be 100 years old when Isaac um, borns, right? So this is very important because it says that Abraham was 75 years when God called him, and he so 25 more years he's gonna have his son Isaac. So sometimes when God promises something to us, we have to be patient, right? Because a lot of us, we think that God is gonna answer our prayer in an hour or in a day or in a month, in a year. That's like the longest we can wait. But actually, we don't know. God is he's very mysterious. His timing is perfect, and depending on each situation, because we're different people, we have different situations. He can answer my prayer in a month, in a day, and he can answer your prayer in a second or in a year, right? Or in 20, 40 years, who knows? Only God knows. So we always have to be patient. We always have to trust him that he's gonna answer our prayer. And in this case, he answered Abraham's prayer, or Abraham's hope and desire of having a children, 25 years after he called him. So that's a lot of years, like 25 years. He was 100 years old when he had his second son. We're gonna read more about it because it's gonna be very interesting. But yeah, he was 100 years when he had the son that was the promise of God, right? So it says, Abraham took his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, all the possessions they had accumulated, and the people they had acquired in Haran. And they set out for the land of Canaan, and they arrived there. Abram traveled through the land as far as the site of the great tree of Moreh in Shem. At that time, the Canaanites were in the land. The Lord appeared to Abram and said, "To your offspring I will give you this land." So he built an altar there to the Lord who had appeared to him. From there he went on towards the hills east of Bethel, and pitched his tent with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. There he built an altar to the Lord and called on the name of the Lord. Then Abram set out and continued toward the Negev. And okay, it says, now there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down to Egypt to live there for a while because the famine was very severe. I want you guys to pay very close attention to this part because it says that Abraham was in Canaan, in the land of Canaan, right? Canaan. And it says that there was a big famine in that land. So they had to travel to Egypt. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. They had to travel to Egypt because of this famine that was happening. And then after going to Egypt, we're going to learn that they're going to go back to Canaan right after everything's like done. And this is something very important. We have to remember this path that Abraham took from Canaan to Egypt and then back to Canaan. Why? Sorry. Because this is the same path that the Israelites are going to take and the same path that Jesus Christ is going to take. Remember that, well, I don't know if you guys are familiarized with this story, but if you are, I'm just going to give like a brief, not summary, but like just what I'm trying to say in this part. But if you're not, we're going to keep reading about this story as we keep having more lives, right? But basically, remember that the Israelites, all the sons of Israel, which are 12, they sold one of his youngest brothers, which is Joseph, to the Egyptians, right? Because they were very envious of him. So after many years, there was a great famine in Canaan. So they had to go to Egypt to get food because Egypt was very rich. And then that's where they met their brother Joseph again, and they all stayed with him in Egypt. and they started multiplied, and that was for the Israelites were there for 430 years basically in Canaan. I mean in Egypt. Then after that we have Moses, right? Moses and how he opened the Red Sea. They went back to Canaan. So they took the same path. Obviously, some of them took, like, let's say Abraham probably was there for like months. The Israelites were there for 430 years. They went from Canaan to Egypt and then back to Canaan. And what brought them to Egypt? It was because of the famine. And then with Jesus, it was the same thing. They were in Israel at that time. That was Israel, which is the land of Canaan. Jesus was there with Mary and Joseph, but there was they had to go to Egypt. That's in the New Testament. And then they stood there for like I would say like 10-12 years probably. And then they went back to Israel. So Jesus took the same path that the Israelites took and the same path that Abraham took. So it's very interesting. So it says, they went down to Egypt to live there for a while because the famine was severe. As he was about to enter Egypt, he said to his wife Sarai, "I know what a beautiful woman you are. When the Egyptians see you, they will say, 'This is his wife.' Then they will kill me, but oh my gosh, but will let you live. Say you are my sister so that I will be treated well for your sake, and my life will be spared because of you." So basically, his wife Sarai was very beautiful, and he knew that when the Egyptians saw her, like would see her, they would try to kill Abraham so that they could keep her, you know. So he was telling her, "Please say that you're my sister, so in that way they will treat me well because I'm your brother, and yeah, they will not kill me." It says, when Abram came to Egypt, the Egyptians saw that Sarai was a very beautiful woman. And when Pharaoh's officials saw her, they praised her to Pharaoh, and she was taken into his palace. He treated Abram well for her sake, and Abram acquired sheep, cattle, male and female donkeys, male and female servants, and camels. We also have to pay attention to this because Agar, which is going to be the servant of Sarai, if you know the story, who Agar is. And if you don't know, just like pay attention to this part because Agar was Egyptian. So this is where they got some Egyptian servants. So let's pay attention to that. That's why they had Egyptian servants with them. It says, but the Lord inflicted serious diseases on Pharaoh and his household because of Abram's wife Sarai. So Pharaoh summoned Abram and told him, "What have you done to me?" Well, because, Pharaoh had Sarai in his palace, and he was about to commit adultery with her because she was married to Abram, but that's something that Pharaoh didn't know. And God to stop this, what he did is that he sent many diseases to the Egyptians, right? So that they would stop what they were about to do. And this is very important because you know that when the Israelites that were in Egypt for 430 years, when they had to, like, with Moses, get away from Egypt, when they had to, like, cross the Red Sea and all of that, the Pharaoh didn't want to let them go. And the only way that he let them go is after God sent him a total of 10 diseases. So basically, this is the same thing that's happening. You guys know the connection is very obvious in here. So it says that after God sent some serious diseases to Pharaoh in his house, Pharaoh summoned Abram and told him, "What have you done to me?" He said, "Why didn't you tell me she was your sister? Why didn't you say that she was why didn't you tell me that she was your wife? Why did you tell me that she was your sister? So that I took her to be my wife. Now then, here is your wife, take her and go." Like, he was telling him, I was about to take her to be my wife, Then Pharaoh gave her, and then Pharaoh told Abraham to, like, leave, right? Then Pharaoh gave orders about Abraham and his men, and they sent him on his way with his wife and everything he had. So basically, all the gifts that Pharaoh gave him, they didn't take them away. So basically, Abraham was able to take all those gifts and all those Egyptian servants and all that cattle with him, right, back to Canaan, to Canaan. So yeah, that's how they got out of Egypt. And that's all that we're going to be reading for today's live. I recommend you guys watching the next live, which is going to be on Tuesday, about the New Testament. And if you want to keep reading and learning more about Abraham's story, we're going to have the next live about the Old Testament on Friday, next Friday. And we're going to be reading about what happened after that. How, Samora and Gomorrah. Oh my gosh, I forgot the name of this town. These two like towns. Sodom and Gomorrah. I know you guys have heard of this story, but this happened in Abraham's time. So we're gonna be talking about that. It's like part of Abraham's story. Gomorrah and Sodom. So yeah, I recommend you guys staying tuned for all of Abraham's story that we're gonna be reading. And that's all for this live, guys. I hope you guys liked this live, and if you like it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and click on the notification bell so that you know every time I upload another video, another live. Also, don't forget to comment down below any doubts, any questions that you have. And don't forget to share this video so a lot of more people can learn about the Word of God. I also have a Spanish channel. If you know someone who doesn't speak English, you can send them to my channel, which is linked to this channel. If you just click on my channel, it's gonna the other channel is gonna be there. So yeah, I hope you guys like this live, and I'll see you in the next live. Bye.